Hi, this is Kerry Artab with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. Let's take a look at the charts. I'm going to start with the big picture. And this is, a month ago this Friday. Was it a month ago? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5 weeks ago this Friday. We settled above the 339.54 two-year channel top. And I mentioned how 50207 should be considered a 3 to 5 month objective, roughly. Well, we're 3 to 5 weeks into it, and we may actually see this before the week is out. The way things are going, we probably will. 50207 is a 5-year channel top that can absorb buying pressures on a daily, weekly, monthly, and even quarterly basis. We could fall away from here through the first quarter, potentially back, well, I'd say 414.49 within a month or two, maybe a week or two, and 339.54 not out of the question as a possible 2 to 3 month, say, downside objective following a test of 50207. But if we do close the week, and it needs to be Friday, as you're well aware if you've been watching our videos for the last number of weeks or months, it would be by a 1% margin. Closing above 50207 by a 1% margin this week is 507.09. And if we do close Friday at 507.09 or higher, we enter a meaningful buy signal, yet another meaningful buy signal that within, well, a matter of weeks, perhaps, 607.73, that is a 1 5/8 swing to the upside using the November 21 high against that January 23 low. Basically, the distance between those 2 points, you take 5/8 of it and you add it to 414.49. That takes you to 607.73. And then the full swing, which is to say just sort of flipping on its head, the distance from the November 21 high to the January 23 low, and you just continue higher, 727.17. If we close at 507.09 or higher on Friday, I will begin talking 727.17 as our next big picture objective. And once again, 3 to 5 months, I might say, and yes, it might actually be realized in half that time. We will see. We will see, first of all, whether we even close above 50207 by a 1% margin. Until then, if you've been long now, whether it's been for the last, few days above the upper 590s, or the last week and a half above 414.49, or the last month above 339.54, either way, you're taking some profits advised at 50207. And you may, if you're adept and comfortable with it, consider playing the short side at 50207, back into the upper 450s within a week or two for swing traders, back to 414.49 perhaps within a month or so for 3 to 5 week swing traders. And yes, you may consider reaching for 340 strike out of the money puts that don't expire. That could be a 3 to 5 month play, or once again, it could be a 3 to 5 week play. But either way, I would go, the better part of a year out in the expiration just to give it time to play out. 340 strike out of the money puts following or during a testing of 50207. That is the big picture, really, in a nutshell. The rest, I've just got, these horizontal lines that represent everything I just showed you. And you can see on the daily chart, we did slip into this upper 450s. The low was 457.51, but that 58.32 to 59.78 area, 3-star support, was resistance until a couple of days ago. Now it's support, and now above which we are expecting 50207. That's considered kind of a 1 to 2 week, 3 to 5 day target, depending on volatility, and it may be within 2 full trading days. Working our way up today, I do still have 492.78, and that is a channel top, a valid channel top, a steeply rising channel top that can contain intraday, possibly daily buying pressures. But the way things are going, I wouldn't sell this aggressively at this point in time. I do think the market will likely test 50207 over the next day or two. If we push through 492.78 today, 50207 is likely. And then if we close above 502.07, by that full 1% degree, as I mentioned here, of 507.09, this really does need to be a Friday settlement, but even a Wednesday settlement at 507.09, bear in mind that this weekly channel top also exists on the daily chart, so the 1% margin is still valid on an intra-week basis. I guess the way I would put this is, if you sell 502.07 and the market backs away modestly, but then late in the day pushes through 502.07 and we close at or above 507.09, I think in the final minutes you should consider exiting that short position. And should you go long? That is entirely up to you, but we would, at least on the daily chart, have a valid buy signal if we closed at or above 507.09. But in terms of just sort of the longer term trend dynamics, I much prefer the weekly settlements as sort of the final closure, if you will, on a long-term signal. Closing at or above 507.09 on Friday is our indication for 7/27/17 over the coming months. 3 to 5 months, 3 to 5 weeks, it's kind of take your pick. Let's talk downside today. If we do close today below 458.32, and I'm assuming that would also be below yesterday's low of 457.51, that does indicate a good high for the week, 414.49, then likely within 1 to 3 days, where we encounter that November 21 previous all-time high. We could bottom out there into possibly through next week. And yes, if we were to close below 414.49, we have yet another sell signal. Now, that's not going to happen today, but I will apprise you of a meaningful rising channel bottom that is presently in the mid-390s and climbing, that over the next few days will converge with 414.49 anyway. And so if we were to back away from here, if we close below 458.32 today, then I do think it is this channel bottom that would be likely over the next 3 to 5 days or less. 1 to 3 days, not 1 day, 3 to 5 days I think is likely. And by that point in time, it converges with 414.49 anyway. We could bottom out here through the rest of December into January and round up again to 502.07. And finally, if we were to close below this mid-390 structure and climbing in the coming week or two, that does set up for 339.54 within several weeks. And I'll take us back to this chart here. Where is 339? It's right about here on the chart. So, right now, we're not going to see that right now. I'd say by the time we might see it, we'll be in the 410s, 420s, and that would be a meaningful sell signal if settled below into the 330s, if you catch my drift. So I call this the dynamic approach to trend identification. Line studies, channel formations always are. And so bullish momentum remains intact by one measure above 394.31. And if we close below it, we unwind all the way back to the 339.54 channel top. But we're a long way from that right now. Holding above the upper 450s, we're likely to test 502.07 in the coming days, possibly today. I'm going to leave it at that for for Wednesday's Tesla. Please click like, share, subscribe. We put out a stock pick on Tuesday, and right offhand, I forget exactly what that stock was, so I'm going to leave it alone. You have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with Thursday's Tesla.